Spider-Man's spider sense warns him about danger before it happens, an invisible alarm that activates before he even understands what is coming. It sounds like a power that could only exist in comic books. Yet real spiders can suddenly freeze, turn, escape, or prepare to strike before anything has touched them, as if they noticed a warning hidden from the rest of us. But that does not necessarily mean they can predict danger. So is spider sense real, completely fictional, or is the truth somewhere far stranger in between? Before we call it a real superpower, we need to be careful. A spider cannot sense danger out of nowhere. There has to be something in the environment for its body to detect. A movement, a disturbance, a change so small that another animal might miss it completely. And this is where the idea becomes interesting, because the spider is not reacting to the future. It is reacting to the present before we even notice that anything has changed. So the real question is not whether spiders can predict danger, but how early they can detect it, and how much of the world they are sensing that remains invisible to us. Can spiders recognize their own kind? In the movies, Miles Morales meets Peter Parker, and his spider sense seems to deliver a very specific message. You are like me. Real spiders do not have a magical detector for shared abilities, but they are far from blind to the identity of another spider. Depending on the species, they may use movement, body shape, vibrations, courtship signals, or chemical traces left on silk. A male approaching, a web often has to produce a pattern that tells the female he is not ordinary prey, while other spiders can detect whether silk was left by a potential mate or by a member of another species. And experiments with jumping spiders suggest that some may even react differently to a familiar individual and a complete stranger. This is not the cinematic version of spider sense, but it does mean that another spider can leave behind a kind of biological signature, one that says not exactly, you have my powers, but something much closer to, you are one of my kind. Hairs that hear the air. The first part of a real spider sense is hidden in something that looks completely ordinary, the tiny hairs covering its legs. Among them are extremely sensitive structures called trichobothria, long, flexible hairs that bend when the air around the spider moves. A flying insect, an approaching animal, or even a faint disturbance can create a signal strong enough for these hairs to detect. And because different hairs are pointed in different directions, the spider can begin working out where that movement came from. Researchers tested this with a wandering spider called Cupienia sali. They blocked its vision and prevented vibrations from traveling through the surface beneath it, yet the spider could still turn and launch toward a flying insect by following the air disturbed by its wings. It was not seeing the prey, and it was not feeling the ground move. It was reading the air itself, which means that by the time something finally touches the spider, its warning system may already have been active for several crucial moments. Spiders can hear without ears. Spiders do not have ears, at least not in the way humans do. But that does not mean their world is silent. Sound moves through the air as pressure waves, and those waves can bend the same sensitive hairs that detect nearby movement. Researchers found that the jumping spider Phidippus audax responded to low-frequency sounds from more than 3 meters away, a remarkable distance for an animal small enough to sit on your fingertip. Recordings from its nervous system showed that the spider was not simply reacting to a shaking surface. The signal was reaching it through the air, most likely through sensitive hairs on its front legs. To us, a quiet room may seem almost completely still, but to a spider, it can be filled with distant footsteps, wing beats, vibrations, and warnings, arriving from far beyond the reach of its legs. Legs that work like seismic sensors. Air is only one part of the spider's warning system, because whenever something moves across a leaf, a branch, the ground, or a web, that movement sends vibrations through the surface beneath its feet. Hidden inside the spider's hard outer skeleton are microscopic seismic sensors. Air cracks, called slits and sela, often arranged together in structures known as lyriform organs. When a vibration reaches the legs, the exoskeleton bends by an almost invisible amount. These tiny slits deform, and nearby nerve cells turn that mechanical pressure into information, allowing the spider to detect how strong the disturbance is, when it arrived, and which legs received it first. Clues that can help reveal where the movement came from. These sensors are so sensitive that the surface may appear completely still to us while the spider is already receiving a detailed warning through its body. The spider is not predicting that something is approaching. Its legs are detecting the first physical traces of that approach long before direct contact happens. The web is an external sensory system. For many spiders, the web is not just a trap. It is an extension of the body. Every thread can carry information from a distant point directly to the spider's legs. When an insect struggles, when a leaf touches the silk, when the wind changes, or when another spider steps onto the web, each event produces a different pattern of vibration. The signal travels through the threads, reaches different legs at slightly different times, and gives the spider clues about direction, distance, and intensity. The spider can even change its posture, pull on certain threads, or adjust the tension of the web to make those signals easier to read. The web is not simply catching whatever touches it. It is constantly reporting what is happening around the spider, almost like a giant sensory organ built outside the body. And while the spider may not know exactly what caused every vibration, it can often gather enough information to decide whether to hide, investigate, attack, or wait. Can a spider tell prey from danger? A web is constantly disturbed by wind, rain, falling leaves, trapped insects, predators, and other spiders. Yet these events do not all create the same signal. Struggling prey often produces rapid, irregular vibrations, while a potential mate may use a more controlled pattern. And a larger animal touching the web can create a heavier disturbance that makes the spider retreat instead of attack. The spider may also pause, pull on the silk, or move closer to collect more information before deciding what to do. It does not receive a perfect label saying prey, partner, or predator. Instead, it compares the pattern with signals that matter for survival, then chooses the safest response: attack, escape, investigate, or remain completely still. Different spiders, different versions of spider sense. There is no single spider sense shared equally by every species. Jumping spiders rely heavily on their sharp vision and can track movement with their large, forward-facing eyes. Web-building spiders depend far more on vibrations carried through silk. Ground-hunting spiders read disturbances traveling through leaves, bark, or soil. And fishing spiders can detect ripples moving across the surface of water. Each lifestyle has shaped a different sensory toolkit, so what feels like one mysterious power is actually a collection of specialized abilities tuned to the exact environment where each spider hunts, hides, and survives. Spiders can sense electric fields. The strangest part of a spider's sensory world may come from something we cannot see at all. The atmosphere naturally carries an electric field, and experiments suggest that some spiders can detect changes in it through extremely fine hairs on their bodies. When the field shifts, those hairs can move and trigger a response. This seems to play a role in ballooning, the behavior where a spider releases silk and uses air currents to travel through the sky. The electric field may help the spider decide when conditions are suitable to launch. This is not a direct danger alarm, but it shows how much information exists around a spider beyond ordinary sight and sound. Even forces that feel completely invisible to us can become part of the way it reads the world. Spider-Man versus real spiders. Spider-Man's spider sense works like a warning from the future. It can react to an attack before there is any obvious sound, movement, or vibration. And it sometimes seems to reveal not only that danger exists, but exactly where it is coming from. Real spiders do not have anything this precise or supernatural. Their abilities depend on actual signals already present in the environment, yet the result can look surprisingly similar. A spider may freeze before a predator reaches it, turn toward a sound from across the room, detect movement through a web, or react to a disturbance so weak that a human would notice nothing at all. The difference is simple. Spider-Man senses danger itself, while a real spider senses the tiny physical clues that danger leaves behind. Final verdict. So, is spider sense real? Not in the way comic books imagine it. Spiders cannot see the future, read intentions, or detect danger without a physical signal. But evolution has given them something that can look almost as impressive. A body covered in sensors, legs that read vibrations, hairs that detect movement through the air, and, in some species, a web that works like an alarm system spread across the environment. Spider sense is fictional, but the reason it feels believable is that real spiders already experience a world filled with warnings that humans cannot sense.